That's definitely room to grow. I've never dealt with a baler. I got something to learn. It's always something. My uncle gave us a baler. This is an old 68. New Holland S-68, I believe it is. There's a little name tag, New Holland S-68. We weren't even sure that our little tractor could pull this. We had it hauled here on a flatbed. The little tire came off just as we got it into the building. Then we were able to put this rubber mat under there and back it the rest of the way in, so that we didn't damage the rim. It's seen a lot of use, I guess, or maybe age. My uncle said he baled some hay with it before, so we'll give it a whirl. Try to get it going. It has some parts inside that look maybe in better shape than average, maybe replaced over time. I don't even know what all the names of the parts are yet. I'm glad to have this. It's going to be exciting to get it going. And if we can't get it going, no big thing. But I think with some work, we can make it run. These things have massive big steel flywheels that turn to make the square bales. This is a square baler. We just got tired of depending on others to do our hay. People would come and then people would say they would come and not show up, or they would do all the good hay first and wait for ours to kind of get more weeds and get up into summer when it was too hot. And we got tired of that, so we're going to do our best to have access to a baler so that when we're ready, we can let it rip. We hope. I know this doesn't look like much right now. We're going to try to kind of refurbish it a little bit, grease the bearings and get it going and replace anything that needs it. Learn how to use it. We placed a rubber mat under it and we rolled the baler the rest of the way into the garage so that we could work on it. Two young boys and I tore into the wheels and looked at the bearings and assessed the situation with the spindles where they hooked to the frame. We took the caps off of the bearings. We took the nut, cotter pin and nut off and pulled the hubs off completely and took a look at the bearings. Bearings on one side are in good shape. We put them back together. Bearings on the other side seem a little gritty, and there's kind of a rubbing. I don't know if it's against a seal or what, but they feel pretty smooth once you get them put back together. So I'm gonna attempt to use that for now, and if it fails, I'll just go ahead and replace that whole bearing assembly. One thing we noticed right away is this spindle on this one side. This is the side with the most weight. It has 6 lug nuts instead of 4. So it's holding more weight, and the spindle on this side is thicker, more durable. Okay, we noticed that if you shake it up and down, it's got some slop it's not supposed to have. You can see that bolt right there is moving. It's not supposed to be moving. So we're going to take that loose, see what's going on in there. We noticed right away, we had a problem when we trailered the thing here that the guy who was trailering it here for us accidentally ran over a curb and kind of bounced the baler over halfway off the trailer. So when that happened, this could have been part of the deal here. I'm not sure. We also tried to jack it and pull it back onto the trailer so we could remove it from the trailer. So it was a whole fiasco. All right, we're looking from behind this axle, And as my son, Peter, moves it up and down, you can see it's got a little slop in it. And it's moving that bolt. There's a through bolt right there. It's got extra slop that it's not supposed to have. So that causes the wheel to have slop. So we're going to get that remedied before we do anything else, because I don't want my wheel angle over to the side like that. See, you can look from the rear, that hub has a angle. Pull it up there, Peter, level. See if you can pull it up. It still can't even pull it up totally level. Yeah, something's totally jacked with it. So we'll get on that, see what we can do. We got into this bearing a little bit yesterday, and it's fairly smooth, but it's rubbing a little bit back here on the back. But from what I can tell, it's kind of a seal back here that's rubbing, and not necessarily the bearing itself. So I think I can get by with that for a short time, as long as we don't run it in the rain. Here's a situation I don't quite understand. There's a metal, I see a metal thing, you know, metal plate here. This metal plate here, it goes down over this chain. And I saw underneath, where there are signs that this chain has been rubbing the flange on this little bracket here, on this cover, that chain. So I don't know if that's routed wrong, or something's installed wrong, or not tensioned right. I'm gonna have to check that. There are tensioning pulleys and another gear under this cover. This thing is routed in this manner right now, and when I changed it, I routed it this way. It works better this way. People online say that's the way it should be, and the good thing is it doesn't rub the cover, which also leads me to believe that that's correct. All right, I'm going to kind of show you under the hood on this thing. It's been stored, obviously rusty. It's been stored outside some. It has some hay in it that would indicate, you know, it was operating at one point. We've pulled some of the hay out of it.
Okay, we'll cut this and put it in there.
Here's one of the little wheels. It rolls pretty well. This passenger side, the right side wheel rolls really smoothly. The bearing on the other side is not quite as smooth. Okay. You open the front cover on this bad boy and look in. You can see all kinds of good stuff. I think I saw a nice wasp nest. Saw a nice wasp nest in there. Some old junk, like bags or something. It's gonna have to be cleaned out. Use only certified New Holland twine. Oh yeah, I'll bet that makes a load of difference. Okay, we're in the shop again, working on this old New Holland 68. It was given to me by my uncle. It's obviously got some age on it, some wear. It's obviously been outside a bit because of all the rust. You can see that it's gotten wet. So I'm cleaning this thing, going through how everything works, reading the manual, trying to figure out what in the world is going on with this thing. And now the light is blinking because the battery's wearing out. So here we go. I'll show you a few things I've discovered, learned along the way. hopefully after we get all of this done, I'll get to show you outside actually baling a bale if this thing will run. I'm getting kind of excited because this morning I was able to turn the flywheel manually, get everything to turn, get the knotters to move and all of the parts to move and change. It's fascinating, all the parts that move in this thing. This morning I've been looking specifically at this knotter setup and all the parts that are inside and how the thing's supposed to work. I think I know now how I'm supposed to thread the twine through the different little round insulators to get it up and feed it through the needles. But man, it's fascinating how this knotter stuff works. And I've read in the manual all these adjustments and everything for this, and I sure hope to God I don't have to touch any of that stuff because it seems complicated to me. But I'm sure as I use it and I get more familiar with it, it'll be a little less scary. Mainly what I'm doing at this point is familiarizing myself with all the parts, trying to see how things work, cleaning stuff so that I can actually see what I have. For instance, there's supposed to be marks on this thing that show me how to time it, how to adjust it. And it's so dirty I can't even see the marks. So I'm just cleaning it so that I can tell what I have. I think this knotter setup is the most fascinating part of a baler. And right now I'm just blowing with air, using a brush also to kind of clean the grime off. This thing sat around a barn, a tobacco barn. I think it sat outside some. So it has so much dirt. I think the knotters are the most fascinating part of a baler. When the bales are being produced, this little ring rotates as the bale goes out of the machine. It raises this lever raises this lever up to a certain point, and when that is reached, it triggers this system here to tie the bale. I think it's incredible. Let me just turn the flywheel by hand so you can see what's happening in here. It's absolutely incredible. That stuff moves and ties the knot. The needles go back down to their original position. And it continues on. Pretty freaking amazing. Kind of like a sewing machine. Okay, we're at the front of this knotter setup here. And I learned from a friend who had a similar baler that there's a way to get in here and look behind it. If you take these two bolts loose, and take this spring off right here. There's a spring. I just use a piece of weed eater string and I pull up. Loosen that spring temporarily. And then you can flip them up. And get a good look at what's underneath with this pointer here. Right down in here is a cutter that cuts the string. So you have to make sure that that's sharp. There. And right here on this one. This piece moves. And so you can file this to make it sharp. This one looks kind of dull. I'm probably going to hit that one. I've got kind of a bundle of string in here that I want to get rid of because I'm starting these things fresh and I don't want all this junk in here clogging up the works. So I'm going to pull this all out. So that's just a little tip I learned recently. All right, so I'm going to dig this stuff out. Oh, that was easy. This one has some stuff jammed up in here. When I pull grass string out of anything, I try to put it in the trash can because I don't want to get it in my lawnmower, weed eaters. There's probably a better way to do this for people that know what they're doing, but this is the way I'm going to do it. Big part of this operation is just cleaning enough to see what I've got down in here. And I'm just using a little wire brush because I don't want to use pressure washer or anything that'll pump water into these bearings and places that have to be greased. I'm just carefully knocking off the big chunks. I used a small flat file from my chainsaw equipment. To get in there and sharpen this cutter, I just worked it back and forth as best I could and felt with my finger to see if it was relatively sharp. This one had a little bit of rust on it, so I definitely knocked off the rust and sharpened it a bit. Only one side really needed it. I'm going to put a little grease in these grease fittings here that I've, exposed. I've never seen a machine with more grease fittings than this thing. The manual tells you where a lot of them are. I guess tells you where all of them are. But I didn't see this trick in the manual about swinging all this up so that you could work on it. So, this type of a grease nozzle is really nice to have. I'll tell you. It's Christmas time. We got people working here in the building, working on a go-kart, while I'm wrenching on this, and my boys are wrenching on something else. I guess like father, like son. I'm just giving it pretty much a single squirt to these. They look actually fairly well lubed. Sounding good.
Oh no!
14-year-old has a catastrophe over there. Okay, the gearboxes. Okay, there are 2 gearboxes on this machine, and I'm going to just replace the gear oil. I'm not even going to question it because based on the way the rest of this machine looks, I doubt this oil's ever been changed in the 40 or 50 years or whatever that it's been running. So that gear oil doesn't look that great to me. And it looks like it has a few metal chunks in it. So, not too great. Not too great. Pretty chunky. I don't know about this. Good thing I decided to change it. But man, it's full of metal, so I don't expect much. I don't know how much longer this baby will run. But there is a metal, I think there's maybe a magnet down here at the bottom on this plug. I think it has a magnet. I'll clean all that goop off after I drain this, and I'll fill it back up with 90 weight gear oil as the manual calls for. But ooh, baby, that's slimy, that's gooey. That is delicious. All right, on the drive side, on the left side, there's another gearbox, and I'm gonna drain the oil out of it also, because again, I don't really trust the condition of it or when it may have been done before. So I'm loosen this plug. And nothing is coming out. That is not what I'm interested in. A dry gearbox. Ooh, there we go. There we go. Come on out of there. That stuff is black and almost like butter. It's like thicker than syrup or molasses or corn syrup. That stuff is old and black. It's thick. Thick is good. Here's the drain plug. I think that it has a magnet on it. Little pieces of metal stuck to the magnet, which is where you want them. So it actually looks pretty good. I'm just gonna drain this out and refill it from above. There's an access hole at the top where you can get to that fill plug. If you look at the front of this machine, I've noticed an issue that's going to have to be addressed before we can run this thing properly. This feeder tine bar right here that has the feeder, this bar that moves, has tines on it that push the hay in and feed it into the chamber to make the bales. This big drive chain is loose, and it says in the manual to keep this tight. Well, it's too loose, and because it's loose, and because this wooden piece back here is worn, the thing is flopping. It has too much play, and it's moving over to the side, sliding away from the machine, and it's causing the tines to rub. Let me get in there and show you. Okay, you can see this tine bar here. Here's a tine. It's allowed to come too far forward in the machine, and it's actually rubbing. You can see where there are grooves rubbed in the tine, where it's been rubbing against the machine on the front end. It's supposed to stay. See, it's just way too loose. This chain is too loose. And the wooden piece, the wooden slide that's under The wooden slide that's under here is worn, so it's allowing this to drop down and scrub as it goes past. That's not going to be good long term. So I'm thinking of two ways to combat this. One is to go ahead and tighten up this chain. There's an adjustment that moves this big sprocket over to the right. It moves it over, so it should tighten up this chain. And once we do that, then we'll assess whether or not we need to replace that wooden block in there. If we have to replace that slide, that's going to be a deal, I think. Try to get in here. There's a wooden slide, and that is expensive to purchase, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to get out and make one from scratch if we have to do it ourselves. So I don't really want to get into that. So I'm hoping that tightening this chain will fix that problem. Let's see how it works. From this image, you can see the groove. You can see the damage that's begun on this part because it's rubbing the front part of the machine. We're going to try to keep that from happening by either fixing this wood block. You can see there's a wooden slider in here, and it's worn. It's worn down just a bit. But I think maybe by tightening this chain, we can solve this problem. Let me run it through a little bit so you can get a view of what's happening. Okay, I'm going to turn the flywheel. With this driver tine bar, if you look at the front of the machine, you can see here is the axle, the spindle for one of those large gears on the other side. The second gear is hooked directly to the gearbox. So there's this mechanism here where you can adjust this screw here by loosening these two bolts, slide them in the slot, and it will effectively increase the distance between this shaft and the other shaft for the two large gears on the drive. So we're going to try to do that in order to tighten that chain to deal with that sloppiness there on that drive bar. Okay, I'm going to get in here and loosen these babies. Hopefully. They seem pretty tight. Divine. Okay, so I got that wooden slider out of there. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'll dig it out of there and show you. That wooden piece sits down in here where the chain is to ride this feeder bar. There's a wooden piece here that this rides on. So I was able to grind off the bolts on the back side because they were rusted in place. And I got out this wooden slide. It's got red paint on it. I think it might be original. I think they're supposed to be made of maple wood. I have some oak on hand that I got free. I'll probably use that oak instead of the maple because that's what I have. Here's what it looks like. It's wooden. It's wooden. You can tell from this end, it used to be, straight across. It's worn on an angle. So it was allowing this bar to kind of tilt down. It's causing some problems. So I'm going to make a new piece, stick it back in there.
Yep.
Okay, here's a view of that wooden piece, that wooden slide. We manufactured a new piece and put it in here with the 2 bolts. We just left the bolts sticking out. We didn't countersink them. That way we can get a wrench on it. Because when I got these off, when I took the old ones off, I had to cut them off because they spun inside the wood, and I couldn't get a wrench on them. They were carriage bolts. So now there shouldn't be anything on here that will hit these. So I'm going to leave them sticking out a little bit. I rounded off the end of this wood here so that the piece that comes down here won't crash into it. It'll be able to slide across the top. And it's roughly the shape of the one that I took out. This is oak. I think there's supposed to be maple. But I had oak laying around the shop free from a pallet. So I used that. And oak is supposed to be almost as good. So for our purposes, I think it'll work. And if it wears out, who cares? I'll make another one. It was fairly easy. I just put it on a table saw, cut it roughly to shape, then trimmed off the end. It has a bevel at the end where it tapers down. So I'm going to turn this thing so you can see what this does. It's a bumper for the bracket that holds this feed bar. So take a look. I'm going to turn this by hand. Here we go. Turning it. Okay, we found in the manual 2 marks for timing on this time bar. So we used a pencil and we made the marks more prominent so we could see what we were doing. Here's the chain on the outside there for the knotters. Comes off the gearbox. We lubed that and adjusted the tension and made sure that the idler pulley worked. Some of that was a little crusty. Took a little bit of work to get that freed up. Looking up inside the Baler cavity, the chamber, there are little things called hay dogs. They're supposed to be sort of a one-way flow catcher for the hay. It can slide past it, push the hay dogs up, but the hay can't come backwards past the hay dogs. These hay dogs weren't really working right. They were very stiff. One of them was completely frozen solid, didn't move at all, and the other one had just a little movement. So in order to make better bales, to make this work properly, we spent the time to get these hay dogs out, clean them up, lube them up. They were very rusty. They were rusted in place. It was quite a job to get them out. So that was a part of this refurbishment. Took some serious pry bar work. to get them loosened up. Some PB blaster and a pry bar got them moving, but you can see one of them would move, but then it would stick. It wouldn't go back down. They're spring loaded. They're supposed to go down and hold the hay in the chamber and prevent it from moving backwards toward the needles. We finally got the pins out and got the spring out and took them to the file and the grinding wheel and brush and got them all cleaned up. That's probably good. All right. Now we have these dogs cleaned up a little bit. Got the springs for each of them. And the main aspect, the pins. We created new cotter pins with just wire. I like to use this flexible aluminum fence wire. Makes pretty good cotter pins for something that doesn't move a lot. So these will be should hang in there. They're up at the top so we can inspect them easily. Check the condition of the cotter pins. Make sure they're hanging in there. Ready, clear, ready for takeoff. Contact, cat removal. Okay, contact, camera, lighting, action. Okay, we tried to run this thing. Our first experience with it. Our little tractor seemed to make it turn. It looks like it did something with the rope. And I think it tied, but we've got some loose hay coming out the back, so we're gonna try to pick it up again, see what happens. Okay, we found we had some issues with the knives. We wanted to sharpen them, first of all. So we took them off the baler. These things do multiple duties in the tying cycle. We found that the rollers were worn and they had flat spots on them. So that was causing problems. It was keeping the
keeping these from swiping across properly and pulling the rope off the bill hooks. So we bought some parts and replaced these. One of these looks like maybe it had been replaced before because the roller would come off with an Allen head screw. But this other one looked original. It was swaged on. There was no way to get it off without like grinding it off. So we kind of ground that off, pulled the roller off, replaced it, and then welded it back. Welded a little bead back so that the rollers would stay on. So this is a shot again of the older rollers. And this is the one that looks like it's a little newer because it has the screw you can take loose to replace these. I looked online for the rollers. You know, this thing is from the 1950s. The parts were a little harder to find and kind of expensive. So I did generic little brass cylinders of the right size and then kind of molded them, the profile to fit properly.
Okay, so this is a shot of our Baler knives, our knife arms. These are the knives, these are the shafts, and our problem is with the rollers at the end. Our problem is with the roller knives here at the end. They've developed flat spots on them, and they're really worn out and shot. I don't know right there if you can see that flat spot. There's a tremendous worn spot on that wheel. So we just bought some generic parts from the Master Car. We just bought little brass coated cylinders that we're going to use to replace these with. We've got a similar issue going on with the bill hooks. I'll show you those. Okay, the bill hooks. On the knotters here, there are bill hooks. And the back end of the bill hooks have rollers on them. And you can see that there's a flat spot on this one, pretty severe flat spot on this one. Hope I can get that focused so you can see it, but tremendous flat spot. But I didn't see a way to buy just the roller for these bill hooks. They're such an old part. I don't think they're probably in stock from 1958. So we're gonna make some. We're gonna get those off of there. And we're gonna put some new ones on there with some generic brass cylinders from McMaster Car. We'll see how it goes. All right, we made a new bill hook roller for this thing. See if you can get a good look at it here. Let's see if we can get a good look. We'll get this thing all put back together. Get that bill hook stuck in there, get the pin back in it. Get it hooked onto the pinion where it's supposed to be. And get this knotter running. I think it's gonna work. We created a new little roller from parts off of McMaster Car. Just got a little brass roller that was similar size. Stuck it on there. Put a little tack at the end. We're going to tack weld the end of it to make it stick on there. See how she goes. That beats paying like $85 or whatever it was for a new bill hook. We didn't really need the hook, we just needed the roller. Alrighty. We're always doing something around the farm. For this hay project, we have this small tractor. Okay, we don't have many livestock. We'd like to maybe get more later, but we also want to be as self-sufficient as we can. So I'm going to experiment with this old bush hog. This bush hog is probably past about half its life. There is a lot of rust underneath. Some of the thinner panels are rusting through. We're just, we took the blades off, we sharpened them, we put them back on. Through that hole is the bolt where you put the blades back on. Where this light is shining down here on this left side, you can see a lot of bumps on that metal where over the years you can see a lot of bumps on that metal that were smashed into it from the underside when the thing hit large logs and sticks. In order to blow hay out of here without chopping it multiple times, we're going to experiment with whacking the side out of this bush hog. Now, I've seen online some people do it with a little bit of success, and they're able to bale up some bales of hay. So we're going to try it. I know it's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's not as good as an actual hay cutter, but this is what we have. We don't want to buy $1,500 piece of equipment that sits all year. We're going to try to adapt this little 5-foot bush hog to blow grass out the side like you would kind of a lawnmower, in the hopes that we can whack some grass down, leave it in relatively long lengths without cutting it multiple times and chopping it up, so that it's in long enough pieces that our baler will pick it up.